You're listening to Snippets from the Summit with your host, Scot McKay.
How's it going, gentlemen? This is your main man, Scot McKay, coming at you again with another Snippet from the Summit as part of the Mountaintop podcast from X&Y Communications. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that I know you guys are familiar with, at least conceptually, but what I want to do today is really describe what is meant by that sentence you've heard women utter, which is this: there's just something about that guy. Now, if you've heard women you desire talk in such hushed, adoring tones towards some other guy, it can throw you off your game a little, can it? I mean, after all, you want this woman, but she's noticing that there's this other guy, and she's intrigued by him for some reason. Well, a lot of times you're going to notice that even if you don't think you're exactly tall enough, handsome enough, rich enough, or whatever to get tens like they talk about in pickup artist advice, you may actually look at this other guy who this woman is apparently fawning over and thinking, this guy's got nothing on me. He's a pretty average guy at best. In fact, sometimes you may think you've got a lot of what this guy doesn't. So what's going on with this? Well, first of all, when a woman says there's just something about that guy, there is something about that guy. And what she's referring to are traits or ways, this is important, ways he's making her feel that go above and beyond the by-the-book statistics that, well, stereotypically describe a guy who women would want and fawn over. He's not tall, he's not handsome, he's not rich, but he makes women want him. The other thing that's probably occurred to you already is you haven't heard women talk like this about men all that often. As a matter of fact, if you're a normal red-blooded guy like me, you've only heard women say such a thing, especially in your presence, enough times that you can count on maybe both hands at best. But you know what? It really sticks with you when you hear it, doesn't it? So what is going on there? Well, first of all, you have a relatively normal guy who's managed to gain the attention and, in fact, the admiration of women in ways that, well, most men can, and in ways that surprise women when it happens. Now, being this kind of stealth mode guy who women can't get enough of and perhaps can't even put their finger on why is a great guy to be, because it happens much to the chagrin of all those other alpha D-bag guys out there who think they're, so great with women and expect women to fawn all over them and they expect to get whoever they want. But no, the woman's attention is in fact turned towards this seemingly normal guy. Okay, so here would be a good time to talk about the difference between there's just something about that guy and a guy who's an alpha douchebag. Well, douchebag by definition is a guy who thinks he's a lot cooler and acts like he thinks he's a lot cooler than he really is. He's not occurring to people as being as cool as he thinks he is. That is the very definition of a douchebag. In other words, he is puffing his chest out and everybody else is rolling their eyes. Meanwhile, there's just something about that guy has a more natural, dare I say, quiet aura about him. He's a man of aura. And that aura makes women feel safe and secure when he's around. So what is it? Where's the magic here? What makes there's just something about that guy overcome genetics and perhaps even conventional wisdom and attract women and make them want him where even the alpha douchebag guys fall far short? Well, first of all, as always, it's all about how he makes her feel. But it's more than simply making her feel safe and comfortable in his presence. There's just something about this guy loves women. He interacts with women without any sexual expectation, at least not up front. Women don't ever feel as if he's hitting on them. They just feel as if he relates to them and likes them and welcomes them in a way, that's kind of different than how your typical guy would portray himself when he's in the presence of a woman he's sexually attracted to. There's no agenda there. So the woman feels absolutely at home around this guy, knowing that she's welcomed by this guy, all right? But that's not the whole story. What there's something about that guy does next is even more magical in the eyes of women. He talks to them like women. He understands that flirting is not a binary function. It's not an on and off switch. It's that dial that women all seem to primally, innately understand is the way that flirting ought to work. He acknowledges their femininity. He turns up that dial. and he gets to the place where it could turn sexual or not, and if it turned sexual, it would be completely natural. He wouldn't have forced the issue. It would almost be as if the woman was deciding for herself that it was time to get extra flirty with this guy and turn it up to the sexual level. So practically, how does this work? Well, at the micro level, he may greet a woman every morning and flash her a warm smile, take notice of something she's doing, give her attention in some way, not in a way that's fawning, but in a way that's natural. He can notice something about her, give her a compliment without ever having to look like it's a needy act of desperation that he's giving her a compliment. Plus, he's usually very good with humor. He's good at making women laugh. That's a learned skill, and one that I have a whole masterclass on called Comedy Clinic that teaches you that. It's well worth the investment to get your hands on that at mountaintoppodcast.com/masterclass, because I'm one of the only dating coaches who teaches this, and I teach it in a way that's effective even if you don't even see yourself as a comedian. But he's indeed a guy who knows how to put women at ease and make them laugh. Then he makes them feel like women. He talks to them like a man. He talks in a man's voice. He talks in a way that a hero would talk. He talks in the way that a provider and a protector would talk, all without drawing attention to himself, but giving attention and respect to women without giving his power away. Plus, there's something about that guy. Always has a plan. He makes good decisions, and he acts with maturity. He has that way about him that younger men often don't understand. He is the kind of older guy who gets younger women at will because his maturity level has taught him how to wait and take inventory on every situation before acting. It's taught him to measure his words. It's taught him not to overreact emotionally. It's taught him not to worry when everybody else seems to be losing it. So when he walks into the room, women in particular, and probably men also, frankly, breathe a sigh of relief because he's shown up, because he will be the man with the plan, and he will do it in a way that's winsome, in a way that has a little bit of humor attached to it, in a way that makes people worry less, and he will do it with a sense of humor that puts everybody at ease and makes them laugh. And all the while, he's respecting women, he's adoring women, and he's absolutely 100% of the time, without wavering, cognizant of his role as a man who provides and protects, even if it's in small microcosmic ways. No, he's not paying everybody's way. He's not taking a bullet for anybody. He simply represents what masculinity is as women define it. He's consistent about it, and he acts like a grown-ass man. Most of all, and not to be underestimated, he carries himself in a way that subcommunicates that he feels as if he's lucky to be this guy, that he gets to do all these things for women, not that he has to do all these things for women. And when you put those traits together, it may sound very basic to you guys, but how many men do you really know who can string even those few ducks together very well? It's fewer guys than you think. It's not complicated. Simple but not easy all the time, maybe, but it's indeed not complicated. Get this right in your life, guys, and no matter who you are, whether you've won the genetic lottery or not, from now on you will indeed be, there's just something about that guy. Want to talk about this or anything else? Scot at mountaintoppodcast.com. Be good out there.
As always, visit mountaintoppodcast.com for more.